Oh, we're not live. Oh, yeah, that's my bad. No, that sounds good.
Okay.
Do you remember how to? Yeah. Turn those up. Yeah,
Good catch though.
yeah. Is there anybody chatting saying, "Hey, I can't hear you guys"? Yeah.
I just was like checking everything. And
Yeah.
everything, and I'm so shit.
No, that's my bad. So, sometimes it's happened before where I start a live stream, I start talking, and guys are in chat. I can't hear you. All right, so we'll start that over. We're talking about nutrition here, and we're just about to unpack why nutrition is important for staying healthy and just being living a healthy life.
Yeah. Like I was carrying on here.
Restart.
But yeah, like it's a very loaded question and just kind of taper it off. So when it comes to well-being, there's the elements, physical activity is to train the body like physically to endure the hardships of life. Like it's to help
to perform,
with aging.
yeah.
It's helped to strengthen the body. It all has its purpose. How to strengthen the heart through cardiovascular. That's kind of the importance of physical health.
Right.
To strengthen your muscles, strengthen your joints.
So you lift things, you can walk.
Yeah, and train your heart through cardiovascular. Now, nutrition is a different animal. So nutrition, it is really a component that really can help with body composition. So when people are really talking like, I want to go lose weight, and they're going, but I go to the gym all the time, and I'm putting like 2 or 3 hours in doing all this cardio, but I'm not losing any weight. I said, well, that's only a part of the puzzle. So that's really just helping your body with performance. That's really helping your body to get stronger. That's, you are burning calories, but if you're replacing those calories plus more with a surplus of calories, you're not losing weight.
Right.
So the term abs are built in the kitchen, which is,
Do you think that's true?
It means
then?
abs become visible in the kitchen. Abs are a muscle that gets trained, but people are like, oh, you have abs, you don't have abs. It's because you get to see the abs.
Do you think that statement is, in general, would you say that it's true then? Abs are made in the kitchen?
Abs are seen from the work in the kitchen.
Okay. So
So like we all have abdominal muscles, but some are more toned than others, and that's from doing core work and ab work, right?
Just like any muscles,
but a lot of people have strong abdominal structure underneath all that water and fat, right?
All that
but you
blubber.
don't get to see it because they they consume too many calories, right? So that's one component of nutrition. It's calories in, calories out, right? And it's a simple formula. Everybody's bodies respond a little bit different to it. It's in with their metabolisms, but that is a big reason why people lose. That is one of the biggest reasons how people can lose weight is through how much food they eat and the quality of the food and the types of food. They eat.
So you said something that was interesting. I want to touch base on this because I'm not sure what I think about this. And Andrea, I know you could probably chime in here too. You said calories in, calories out. But I've heard stuff that a calorie is not really a calorie. Like, for example, if you think of a calorie in a processed food versus a calorie in a nice, healthy chicken breast. Do you know what I mean? Like, if one's 100 calories, one's 100 calories, are you still getting the same amount of, like, fat loss, for example, if you're specifically counting calories? Do you know what I mean?
So I think the body is a puzzle that we're only scratching the surface of.
Okay.
So anybody that says exactly how something works in the body is lying because nobody knows, and everybody's body is different. And this is like, I've been involved with nutrition and physical health for a long time, and I've learned throughout the years that nobody has these answers. You really have to learn the answers specific to your own body type and your own physiology, because our physiology is very unique to us. Now, you say, is like a processed food calorie the same as a whole food calorie? In that respect, yeah, a calorie is a calorie, right? Is a calorie more quality, nutritionally dense, and nutritionally stable than those other calories? Probably not. The whole food calories are more quality calories, and that's another point of where we could talk to is food as medicine, as in just a structure or an element that's going into your body, right? And the thing with nutrition is that you can view food in a bunch of different facets. You can view it as just, stuff you put in your mouth for pleasure. You know what I mean? Like, just you're consuming food, and food is there's so many when you typecast food, like it's really simple. There's whole food that's hunted or picked out of the ground, which is basically
like your
the
natural
food that
stuff.
our ancestors ate.
Yeah.
That's all they ate. But then, roughly around the 1950s, they realized that they could manufacture food by adding all these chemicals, taking out the nutrition and adding in fillers,
preservatives,
the preservatives, the fillers, the artificial sweeteners,
Yeah.
and be able to produce more quantity
More quantity
by
food, yeah.
reducing the quality, which
Yeah.
obviously makes the bottom line of these corporations more. And then they add in sugar, and then they add in all these artificial flavorings, and they
for all the addictive properties and whatever, we can get into that.
and
But
they manufacture, and then they market all these foods with bright boxes with funny little animals on the front of them, and they make these commercials of everybody happy eating them, and they target the kids, and they make them cost effective, and they make them very easy to make, right? But these foods have been stripped of their nutrition, and with the stuff that they're replacing it with is a lot cheaper.
So that's what I mean, though. You're talking about they're stripping away the nutrition. So again, this nutritionless kind of food that's 100 calories. Like if someone like me who wants to lose weight, it's better to eat, if I'm going to say 2,000 calories a day, it's better for me to eat 2,000 calories of highly dense and nutritious foods than 2,000 calories of
non-nutritious food.
whatever. Yeah, like this processed crap. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I say, like, is it really equal in the sense? Maybe it's equal in the number of units of energy, but in terms of what it's going to do to my body, I could imagine there's going to be a whole bunch of different physiological effects that are going to be way better for me.
Yeah, the reality is too, like in like processed food, call it like your Kraft dinner, your cereal.
Don't talk, Andrea. Did you hear that? He just disrespected Kraft dinner.
Well, it's true. But I mean, like like even like let's take simple things. Like the thing about it is that processed food, it's very elusive. People think that they're eating healthy because of the marketing. People think that they're going to go eat Uncle Ben's rice. You know what I mean? Well, I'm eating rice, but that white kernel is basically just stripped of its. They took that nutrition out of that
Like
kernel and they filled it in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not real rice. You know what I mean? Everything has been manufactured. You know what I mean? It's up to you, the consumer, to get knowledge on what it, and that's reading labels and understanding terms, and it can get very confusing. One of the big culprits is bread. Like most bread is
it's based off the grain as well too, which is I think it's been so overly genetically engineered as well to withstand droughts and all this kind of stuff. And not only that, the way they process it, I think they remove pretty much the whole grain or whatever, and they just take whatever little nugget, and then they just grind it down, manufacture, and just refine it till it's this.
Yeah, there's this.
I don't know, like a sliver.
There's
of
this
what
main
it normally used to
ingredient
be.
called enriched wheat flour,
Right.
and it sounds very sexy. Enriched wheat flour, but what it is, it's flour that's been stripped of its nutrition.
Yeah.
It's highly processed, and it's very bad for you. And it's in all bread.
How's it
basically.
bad for you?
Well, I'm not qualified. I mean,
Okay,
how's
all right,
it bad?
yeah.
How is it?
Well,
how's it-
I'm just I
mean,
don't know, right? Like, 'cause
yeah,
I know like eating lots of bread isn't good for you. Like the food pyramid now, how it's been like reversed. How it used to be like 12 servings
it's
of bread.
chemically induced, right? It's just like any of these, all these chemicals and fillers and processed elements that are all put in our food. They're all bad for you. How each individual one is bad for you. They're just not meant for our bodies. They rage havoc in our microbiome, which is the brain center of our gut that creates the whole process of fighting off diseases and keeps our immune system intact.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just not meant for our body. Our body doesn't know what to do with it. Right? Literally, like there is like out of all the food that's in the grocery store, there's only 10% that we should be consuming. Which
Is that what they say when it's like kind of stick to the outside edges of the grocery store because that's where the produce is and that's where the meats are?
Yeah, I mean that's a term that's kind of thrown out there. Stay to the outside of the grocery store. Grocery stores are all built different, though. You know what I mean?
No, it's
like,
true.
It's true. But no,
Sure.
you want to stick to the foods that have been plucked from the ground
Yeah.
or been hunted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is basically just animal products and fruits and vegetables. Now that creates a whole realm of food, right? You know what I mean? Like your fruits and vegetables, your nuts, your seeds. You know what I mean? Anything from your eggs to any like your poultry, your meats, your porks. You know what I mean? It's all food that has it's whole food, right? It's not been messed with. It's either, been butchered and, sent out for us to eat, or it's been, grown from the ground one way, or whether it's picked off a tree, whether it was actually picked out of the ground, or it's came off some sort of organic element, right? That's the stuff that is natural and meant for our bodies, right?
But it's even crazy to think about the difference, even in just going for a natural animal, of like how cows have been, how they're bred now and how they're raised, and how they're raised on these growth hormones as well too, and how even that is like, there's such a big range, like the difference between a cow that's been highly processed in the whole manufacturing industry of like agriculture versus like, I just went and hunted a deer out in the wild or whatever. Like the meat tastes completely different, and it's just a whole, the antibiotics they feed the cows, or they're not even eating grass, or they're eating grains, not their natural thing. So there's even a lot of differences between that too, I think. But I think, so I'll just ask this one question, because like if somebody's trying to struggle, like, hey, what do I eat? Because there's so many different versions out there, organic, not organic. As a starting point, is it just like, hey, even if you get meat, even if it's not maybe the best sourced meat, still way better than, just sticking with processed food? Like, is that a great starting point to just go from there?
Yeah. Well, so what you're getting into is when it gets really complicated. And I went down this road of like, I wanted to eat everything was organic, grass-fed, free range. And that's a tough world to live in.
Yeah.
Because first of all, who knows?
It is, because what the labels
who knows?
now.
And I've seen, and there's so many documentaries, there's so many podcasts, there's so many contradicting viewpoints in this world of nutrition that I'm at the point right now where I've been in every facet of nutrition. I've tried all the trends.
Yeah.
I've listened to all the podcasts, and it's very discouraging to listen to professionals on both sides of the coin contradicting each other. So-called professionals that spent their lives doing researching and these scientific studies and all that, and they still can't agree. So at the end of the day, it's like, if you're obsessing about, I'm eating real beef, but I'm scared that this cow was eating grain and not grass, then that's a problem. Because you're still eating whole food. You know what I mean? You're not eating something that where they're taking a bunch of meat and they're processing it by putting a bunch of chemicals in the meat, which is filled in all the grocery stores. You just want to grab a clean piece of meat and cook it yourself, and stop worrying about where that meat comes from. And I hate to say it, like, I would love to know that my game was all hunted and it was came right from there, but that's not a reality I'm gonna live in. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's a reality most people can live in. I have to go to the grocery store, buy the meat right off the shelf from the grocery store like everybody else does. I will not go buy the processed meats, right? You know what I mean? And that doesn't just mean like
stuff at the deli and all that
stuff at the deli. That's one thing, but there's also like a lot of the frozen meats. You go to Costco and you see all this nice chopped up chicken like in a thing that's all cooked and ready to go. It's all full of them.
Oh, right.
You know, like there's levels to this, these things. You want to get your boneless chicken breasts, take those in and cook them yourselves. You know what I mean? And I'm the same way. Like, I can look at a chicken breast and be like, it's looks a little sus. You know what I mean? But at least I'm eating chicken breast, and it's not like stuff that's been all chopped up. Like, for example, like, I used to eat at eating at like Subway and stuff like that. Yeah. And you know what I mean? You see, and then I never really thought much of it, but you start noticing.
Because you think it's healthy. That was always advertised as like the healthy guy.
You look at that chicken, those chicken patties they're putting on there, that's just a bunch of crap all mushed together with a bunch of emulsifiers, a bunch of fillers to keep it all together. You know what I mean? Because they need to have that stuff to stay on the shelves for a long time. You cook chicken, it's good for 2 days.
Like tops.
You know what I mean? Like, you cook chicken, you put it in your fridge, it's good for 2-3 days tops. Yeah. You know what I mean? Chicken should not, that chicken, it's Subway, that stuff stays there for I don't know how long.
Who knows?
You know what I mean? It's because they have all these preservatives and all this stuff put into it. And like I said, it's
and that's different from like the salami that they even have there, those sandwiches as well too, then, right? Like, that's
nitrates is another big one that, and there's all kinds of stuff that they put in there to make the product last longer, so they can, so they're not losing money. You know what I mean? Like, if they had to like go and serve you real chicken, there would be lots of waste, right? Because they cook all the chicken, and what doesn't get eaten, they have to throw it away, right? So that's why they buy products that are built to last longer, and that's the world we live in, right?
Yeah, I think there's I think we'll put that aside in a second because there's lots of tangents I think we go, especially with the restaurant industry and how they're serving food. But I want to go back real quick to talk about, oh shoot, what did I want to say? What was I on? Oh my goodness, I'm totally blanking out. It was on something to do with like personal nutrition. Now I can't think of this because there's all these questions that I have because it's something that I struggle with as well too. Oh yeah. So when I go to the grocery store, I look at a chicken breast. And I remember when I was younger, like they were like kind of small, but now I look at them, they're like massive. And I'm like, oh, what are they feeding that chicken? Is it on steroids or whatever? So from what you're saying is that I shouldn't really worry about that because it is, I'm eating the whole meats and I'm eating some good stuff too. So do you know what I mean? Like I see that because I don't know, right? Like I really don't know what's out there. Like I haven't been involved as you are, and like I don't do research and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Well, the thing about it is that, and Andrea, you can probably chime in this because I know you're very health conscious and you go down the road. There is no right answer to nutrition.
Right.
Like, I mean, at the end of the day, there is guidelines that are just undebatable. Eat whole foods and don't eat processed foods. Yeah. And then anything after that, it's up in the air.
Right. Okay.
And do you agree with that?
Two things to say. I don't know. Have you read any Michael Pollan before?
No.
So he wrote, this is a really old book called The Omnivore's Dilemma.
Okay.
And basically the thesis of that book is eat food, not too much, mostly plants.
Mm-hmm.
And what I take from that is eat food is like just eat real food.
Yeah.
And don't worry about like majoring in the minors. Like just eat a chicken breast. Who the fuck cares if it's like organic or free range or whatever?
Yeah.
If make the best choice you can with the money you have. And if that's non-organic chicken breast, like go off. Like, and if you can't afford it, then do organic if you can. But
and exactly. So this is where it gets like, it's a very easy concept. It's like, but I think a lot of people, and this is hard to say, don't know what real food is anymore.
yes.
And I get it because it's easy for me to say because I'm highly educated in this area. I've been obsessed with nutrition since I was 25, and it's not easy for somebody to understand. Like if they go buy a big bag of cut up chicken from Costco and they feel like they're eating chicken, but they don't read the back of it and just see that it's not just chicken.
It's not just a chicken.
It's not just a chicken.
Yeah.
Like that stuff stays on the shelf. Like it's literally on the shelf. It's not like in a freezer chilling. That stuff's sitting on the shelf for weeks.
Oh, it's in like a bag. That's
yeah.
Okay,
you ever go to Costco and see like
No,
the chopped
actually-
up chicken? They have it.
No.
There's a product for everything
Okay.
in that world. Everything that's on the
crazy.
shelf. The only thing you see is that what's cut up, ready to go, and ready to be thrown on the barbecue or in a grill or in the oven, whatever the case may be.
Oh, that's crazy. I never knew
So,
those things existed.
but the thing about it is the marketing. It's like it's out of control because
Yeah.
they'll take a really crappy product and find out one little healthy element that can be associated with this
And that's the
product.
big thing
And
that's
that's
on
what
the
they
packaging.
and that's what they, like I love to pin out some of these. So like goji berries.
Okay.
So like goji berries, like over like I think it was like 15 years ago was like this berry that was
like a wonder berry.
it
or
was
something.
it had
Is it the antioxidants?
antioxidants, yeah, which help fight free radicals, which help fight off cancer.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, but you get
And
it.
inflammation too, I think. Is that
Inflammation,
supposed to-
and berries are great for you. All berries are really good for you. They all have
Yeah.
their, but some are like, they get more airtime than others.
Yeah.
So the goji berries are very rare, but they're super like high, or like so anything that has a goji berry in it, no matter if a bag of whatever has like 5 goji berries in it,
like a
which is
box of
really,
cereal
which
with
really
two, yeah.
sometimes all they put, but the goji berries is the first thing that they
Right.
put onto it. And I remember there was like goji berry juice getting pushed around back then
Oh, really?
from people and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like people are obsessing about the minors, which she was talking about. It's, you want to have, I think it's, I view food as fuel and medicine before I view it as taste and
Like something
texture.
to enjoy.
yeah, but most
Like-
people are eating for enjoyment because they
Yeah.
just want to like, it's become the biggest drug in
Yeah.
our industry.
Also enjoyment, but also I guess it could be enjoyment, but also to like to drown negative emotions as well too, right? Like emotional eating. Like I feel sad. grab the ice cream. You know what I mean? Like, I
Well,
think
this is what I was getting to here.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry. It's okay.
Sorry, by all means, continue.
Yeah. But food is the biggest drug in our society, and I've made this debate with many people. No. It's it's alcohol and weed. So no, drug is the biggest drug in our society.
Or food, yeah.
Food, because it can be weaponized to kill you, like straight up. Because with obesity and with heart disease, because consumption of food and especially poor food is what is killing us as a society. Because heart disease is the #1 killer in North America.
Yeah.
It's been proven. And what causes heart disease most of the time is inactivity and obesity. Obesity is caused by overconsumption of food, and a lot of it is poorly processed foods. And a lot of the foods, and the reason why we're having a lot of like the cancer rate is so much higher in the last few decades. And a lot of that people can agree or disagree, but I think a lot of that has to do with the processed crap that's in all of our foods that we're consuming, because more processed foods are being consumed on a daily basis. And the point that you're getting at is the comfort of eating. People are becoming more sedentary. And I know what it's like to sit down at the end of the day and just want to consume food.
Yeah.
Like I'm very disciplined with it, but it took me years and years to build my mindset that this food gives me zero value. It gives me 5 seconds of value for such a long term of pain.
Yeah, but like we were saying, it's manufactured to be that way, right? It's optimized to hit the exact right chemical process in your brain to give you like that perfect level of like pleasure when you bite into that chip or cookie or whatever the case may be. And it's like, it just tastes so damn good. And yeah, it hijacks our system, because our system's designed to like, hey, that's something sugary, it's nice, let me eat that up so I can be full, so I don't starve, hunter-gatherer kind of sense, when you never knew where your next meal is going to come from. But then it was just eating for the sake of living, like you said, as opposed to entertainment or for comfort or whatever.
Well, it's because it's the other thing too is that food is so accessible. Like
it's crazy to think when there's still so many people around the world that don't have, like, I'm thinking like third world places that they have a hard time with food, and there are people that don't have as much, but like here in North America, like, yeah, and for most of the world too.
How much we waste, you mean? Or
well, not how much we waste, but how, like you're saying, how accessible it is, because you're right, it's like everywhere, and everyone can have, even if you're poor, you're still
So when I mean accessible, I mean like no matter where I go, if I go to a meeting, if I go to like take my car in and I'm in a waiting area, there's donuts.
It's always there.
There's donuts and there's muffins and there's all these poorly refined carbohydrates that are full of sugar, full of chemicals. And they're, you know what I mean? Like, and people don't understand how calorie dense some of these foods are. Like, your little blueberry muffin from Tim Hortons that you think
400 calories.
A lot of people think those are healthy for you. They're full of sugar.
Yeah.
They're full of refined carbohydrates, and they're about 500 calories.
Yeah.
So Crumble just came out with a drink, and the drink on its own is 1,000 calories.
The Crumble cookie. Yeah.
So they made like a milkshakey type of drink.
Yeah. 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
And you drink it.
And that's part
wild to me.
That's part of your aside when you eat like a real meal. Well, like not a real meal, but like
to me.
Yeah. Well, that's what this is what society has become. It's become this place where it's like, how can we like those ice caps, those cappuccino drinks from Tim Hortons?
Yeah.
They're like 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I see people just smashing them every morning, and everybody's wondering why. They're like, well, I don't eat a whole lot of food, but it's like you just drank 1,000 calories.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's very hard to understand. So like calories, and it's very easy to consume a lot of calories and a little amount of food.
Well, just the way it's processed, yeah.
You know 100%. What I mean? Well, how, you know what I mean? Especially like, especially when you start like adding even healthy food, you have to be, wary, like, because like fats are essential. That's why they call them essential fatty acids. And there's the healthy fats are amazing too. They give you your cognitive energy. Like, you know what I mean? Like carbohydrates in general, like the healthy ones, even the other ones, you know, they give you a more of like, you know, a good like body energy when you're really trying to get through your day, when you need the energy to kind of
that just converts into glucose really quickly.
Well, carbohydrates
carbohydrates
are sugar, right? That, you know, carbohydrates convert to sugar, which converts to glucose, which is stored as glycogen, right? That, and there's a stores in our body that's stored, and we tap into those stores when we need physical energy, right? We deplete those stores, then we start tapping into our fat stores, right? Which gives us a more endurance, more cognitive type of energy. That's why the whole fasting movement became popular, because once you're done burning off all the sugar, you can start tapping into your fat stores. That's why a lot of podcasters want to fast, so they can start getting that good cognitive energy when they're doing their podcast.
It's like going into that's like going into ketosis in a sense.
It's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. And I'm a big fan of it. Like I fast. I mean, there's, you know, it's I mean, my fast is more like 14 and you know, 14 and 8. You know what I mean? Not 16 and 8, because it's just how my you know, I went down the fast. Have you ever done the fasting route?
Oh, 100%. Both of us have.
And it becomes a little obsessive, right? Because you're like, oh, you know, you're on the go, and you're like, oh, I can't eat till this time, and it's like, okay, does the hour really make a difference? You know what I mean? It's like, so it's like I have like a nice little regimen, but but have you guys noticed some good benefits from it, or?
Really good, but at least for the fat loss, anyways, for sure.
Yeah.
Like when I was losing weight,
it's a forced way to take in less calories. That's where the fat loss comes from. It's a forced way to take in less calories, because your eating window is either, you know, 10 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, whatever the case.
But even I found too, like if I would ingest the same amount of calories over a day versus just doing fasting, I would still, like, my performance would be better for sports, and then also my performance in terms of how much weight I would lose in like a given set of time would be better as well too, which is kind of weird, but it would help me burn fat faster.
Yeah. So where I'm really at right now, and Andrew just touched on this, is where for my body and what I'm realizing and what I'm focusing on now is the quantity of food I'm eating.
Yeah.
I think that is such a huge thing.
So important. Like
the size of your meals and then your daily consumption of calories.
Yeah.
I don't think we're supposed to eat a whole lot of food. Society makes it very easy and intoxicating for us to eat a lot of food. Buffets, large plates, large portions, being supersize me, supersize this. Like, it's very.
That's a whole nother story.
You know what I mean? And I've had this problem that if it's in front of my face, it gets eaten.
Yeah.
Right. So, but then I started.
I think a lot of people struggle with that.
Yeah, and even though I eat a lot of healthy food, like I'm probably like 95% whole foods.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like throughout like the course of like a week to a month. You know what I mean? And that's just because I view food as fuel and medicine, and I have an aversion to the crap solely because I don't want to hurt. I know what it does to my body, so whenever I taste it, I'm like, that's chemicals. And I don't want to give corporations my dollars. You know what I mean? But I also have this thing for wanting to eat large meals, and I never really thought they were large, but my stomach and my digestive system is starting to give me some warning signs, and I'm starting to like, you know, having to like reverse engineer what I'm doing right now, like trying to like, you know, I started to think of these types of foods, and I'm starting to believe that my body, my digestive system just can't handle large meals. You know, and like I have
feeling sluggish afterwards, or
it's just a lot of havoc being going on down there, you know, and constipation and, you know, a lot of like gas traps and you know what I mean? And, digestion is like one of the biggest problems people are experiencing in their life. I hear it all now that I kind of am in that realm of trying to figure it out. I'm starting
when old people get older too.
Young people, like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
It's
like the heartburn, acid reflux,
just
all kinds of weird stuff.
Just all kinds of stuff, right? Like, you know, intolerances to everything, you know, and I never really thought much of it, but I'm starting to see it more now that I'm becoming more aware of it myself. And, you know, the, you know, Japanese culture, you know, they, you know, their whole society is based around eat to your, you know, you're 80% full. That's their thing. Never eat to being full. You want to like leave, you know, 80% full and then leave the plate alone. You know, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I don't want to feel, I never want to feel full. I want to just be, okay, I feel comfortable right now. That was good. You know what I mean? And then, so that's me having to learn how to like portion my meals out and I'm still working with it because you know what I mean. Sometimes it can
I'm trying to figure it out.
But it's so intoxicating to eat big piles of food because your body won't tell you it was a lot of food for about an hour to 2 hours later.
Well, it takes a little bit for that hormone, whatever is it, ghrelin?
Ghrelin.
Ghrelin.
Yeah,
to kick in.
Yeah,
and like, oh, by the way, you're full. It's like,
yeah, and that's
you should have told me that an hour ago when
it's a hard thing to concept, and you know, a lot of people like, and it's so I think that is something that is so important.
Yeah.
I think it's just as important as the quality you eat and then the portions of the food you're eating.
I think, well, for a lot of things, a good little piece of advice or tip is to just slow down. Like, just slow down when you're eating. You know, oftentimes when people are like, I'm quick, I got to go, and they'll wolf down this giant burger and fries or whatever in like 5 minutes. Like, hold on. Like, give yourself some time to digest this stuff and chew and just see if you're, you know what I mean? Like, if you,
it's another big problem. I had that problem, and my wife is always, you know, you eat way too fast.
Yeah.
And I think it was about 3 years ago I really took that. I had to like say, okay, now I'm like the opposite.
Yeah.
I eat super slow. It take me a half an hour to finish my meal.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like,
I think that's an appropriate amount of time. Like, if you got to play the stuff, like 30 minutes, like, okay, maybe you know, seems like a little bit, but or like a lot, but
yeah, you take a bite and you're enjoying your food. Like you're enjoying, like, I love food, love it. You know what I mean? I love the taste and texture of real healthy food. And when you can like combine all these really healthy foods together, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's lots of great healthy food out there, and you can create amazing combinations of texture. You know what I mean? But you know, my meals is like church to me. Like, I want to be. I take my time to prepare it. I take my time to sit down, and I like to take my time to eat it.
Take your time to eat it. Exactly.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? And like, I see all kinds of people like eating on the go, eating while they're driving. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, food is it's like it's such a beautiful essence of life to nourish your body. And it should be, you should take the time to appreciate it. I think, you know what I mean? Like, it should be enjoyed. You should take every bite, enjoy all the flavors, the texture, and it's an amazing on your digestive system. And by the time you're done, you've given your body time to give you those signals like, okay, this is enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want to touch on something more towards something you said about food being like the deadliest thing, like the deadliest drug for us.
Yeah.
And like, I agree. I think your food is super, super toxic.
So let me just touch base on that one thing. Just a little The reason why I think it's a drug is because it's excessive. Because everybody has to consume food to survive.
Yeah.
So the reason why it's the biggest drug is because everybody is acceptable to that drug.
Well, you have to take it.
Everybody has to take that drug, so it's easy for food to get drugified in your life,
and it's also
where it can be abused. And that's what I mean when because anything you consume is a drug. You know what I mean?
Or like some kind of chemical effect on your body.
You know what I mean? Like, it could be like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, anything that gives you dopamine, it's you know, considered to be a drug. And some things are just, and this is the next thing. But you know, we'll pivot one day. But the phone is our new drug that we're stuck with. You know what I mean? That we have to manage in our lives. The phone can be abused. So food is the one that is the most common drug that it can be easily abused. And that's kind of like the point that I was getting at when I say that it's a drug.
Got it. Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. But the one thing I want to say, and this is what we talk about in this whole podcast, is that yes, food is a drug and it's super harmful. But how much of an effect does everything else in our society have? Because you're talking about, food, you know, could cause you to have cancer and all these different bad things that are happening to your body and to your health and your overall longevity. But it's also like our environment is shit. The air quality is shit. The water quality that we drink, you know, who knows what's in that, you know? And then when we're talking about, which we'll get to at some point too, talking about personal relationships and being social, like so many people are lonely as well, which causes other issues of, you know, just not having those people that you can just talk to and open up and just have that, like, what is it, Andrea? Like when you socialize, it does release some kind of drug as well too, like the feeling of belonging or whatever. Isn't there some kind of
oxytocin?
Yeah, and oxytocin, and it directly affects your immune system. They've done so many studies on it. Yeah.
So like, how much of it is like everything is also connected as well? Do you know what I mean? Like, in order for making our society and just everyone just kind of feeling sick and whatever, you know?
Well, I mean, this is the world we live in, and what really, and I wish there was a way to know if my water was clean, if my air was clean, if I knew exactly what every bite of food was doing to me internally. I wish I just knew, but I don't. And there's no way, unless there's like an air scanner in our, you know what I mean?
Well,
or unless there is like a way, like, you know, we can go into our bank accounts and see how much money we have. You know what I mean? On a daily basis. We can take our car, put it on a hoist, look underneath it, see what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you know, how's everything making out? With our bodies, it's not that cut and dry. You know what I mean? You can go get blood work done, you can go get x-rays done, but it's not an easy thing to do. And whenever we eat food, I would love one day to be able to have some sort of like scan of knowing what that food is doing.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
No.
So it's really hard to like understand what,
like what's affecting what,
how it's affecting. The only thing I can go from is by feel, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I can't really pin. You know, when we go get blood work done, and you get the results back, you know, you're low in this, you're deficient in this, you know, and maybe you should try taking this out of your diet or adding that. But
yeah, you're trying to figure out what,
you know,
what can I do?
You know, and the thing about the other problem is doctors really know nothing about nutrition.
Well, that's another.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's a topic we could spend days on.
I have to school my doctor on nutrition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's really only, you know, doctors are just really, you know, they examine, they diagnose, and they prescribe.
Yep.
Right. And that's, you know, it's important, but that's what they do. I think from what I heard, they have one,
like an 8-hour class on nutrition
something
or something
very
like that.
small in nutrition. It doesn't even break the surface.
I
Right.
think it's even worse than that, because with our experience with nutrition, it's like you even bring it up and you're looked at like you're some type of crazy person for thinking it has anything to do with your health. And
Shut up and take these drugs.
Yeah. And that's been our experience.
Great point, because this is the thing, and this is where it gets really frustrating, because, you know, whenever, like, you know, now that the popularization of like YouTube doctors and all this stuff, whenever I have an ailment or something is bothering me, I go straight to the internet, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just, you know, it's just back and forth.
It's
you know
so hard to know what's going on.
And then some people say, well, I cured myself by drinking just, you know, this concoction, or I just ate these kinds of food and everything was better. You know what I mean? And then, you know, and then there's the other side that are prescribing the drugs. And then you have to be wary, because, you know, these drugs are chemicals, and you know that the pharmaceutical companies want to pump you with these chemicals because the doctors get the kickbacks and the pharmaceutical companies get paid from selling the drugs. And it's like, what is the right thing to do? And this is the world we live in, and it's very frustrating. That's why, you know, maybe it's right. Maybe a healthy, like a lot of cases, like nutrition is the pure medicine. You know what I mean? And like,
I think it would alleviate, probably, like, if the world, like, say, even just like, just forget the world. Let's just talk about Canada. If Canada all Canadians would, like, okay, you know what? No more McDonald's, no more Arby's, and any of that crap. And everyone's just eating, like you said, the whole plants, the whole foods, the meat. I think that would probably take care of 80% of all people's ailments, because people would lose weight. People would not have heart disease anymore. That diabetes rate will go down. I think so much could be fixed. And then people start to feel better, and people are feeling better. They're going to get off on certain drugs because they're using drugs to manage their blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a huge, huge thing. And then what I was saying before is, and then I think we can start tackling other things of like, okay, well, what is it else, like our environment, that is causing us to feel bad or to get us depressed or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I think nutrition is probably like at least 80%.
Yeah, in a utopia society like you described, that would be great.
Oh, not utopia. I'm just saying, like, if it did happen,
that's what it would be.
Because we know, like, if you and I, like, we know, like, oh, I used to eat all this junk food, and then I eat healthy, and then all of a sudden, you know, lose all the weight, feel great, I'm in shape, feel better about myself, feel more confident, going out with friends, you know, and just feeling just overall just better, right?
What is your diet like? I hate that word. What is your eating lifestyle?
Yeah.
I hate the word diet, because it's like diet is kind
something you do temporarily.
It's temporary. I've never ever used, so I call it just eating lifestyle.
Yeah.
So whenever I coach people on nutrition, I said, we're not putting you on a diet. We're creating a new eating lifestyle. So what is your eating lifestyle?
Well, Andrea knows, because Andrea does most of the cooking, but a lot of barbecue, so a lot of ground beef, a lot of chicken thighs we buy from the store. Andrea, maybe you can chime in whatever else that you're cooking. But really, I think meat and vegetables are really at the heart of our diet, our diet,
Yeah.
our
Yeah,
the
like,
nutrition, the food that we eat.
I do a lot of meal prep, especially if we're like studio rentals, just so it's like a grab and go. So like egg cups in the morning, which
That's
is
right,
the
yeah.
high protein egg cups, so just grab and go. Tristan's keto, so everything I make is like he's able to have it keto, but we have maybe like the protein pasta will go with some stuff, but everything is whole foods. Like I don't buy anything processed. I bake all of our
Yeah.
treats and stuff. We use xylitol for any sugar-based
Awesome.
stuff. Like everything's because that's how I was also brought up. My mom worked full time, but we never had Lunchables. We
Yeah.
never had like any cookies. She made everything, so that's how I.
But that being said, we're not perfect because every
Yeah.
once in a while, like craft dinner, Andrea loves craft dinner,
love
so every
craft
once in a while, I'll
dinner.
buy a box of craft dinner.
Mhm.
Every Friday we have Pizza
Pizza
Friday.
But
so
even our pizza, Odum makes the dough on his own.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a pre-bought crust. Like you
still the
make
crappy
that
flour,
dough.
but you know,
Yeah.
Have you ever
Yeah.
tried making pizza with like organic flour?
yeah, I've tried different types of flours. It just doesn't taste the same. But I'll just like pizza is my guilty pleasure, right? That is what I eat, and it's you know, I know it's not the greatest for you, but hey, how's it going? Peace and love. Appreciate that, man.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see you.
Yeah. So with that being said, so you feel like pizza is kind of like your little
It's
like
my vice or
your-
whatever.
yeah. Your Achilles
no,
heel.
that is not your Achilles heel, and you know it.
uh-oh.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, I'm sure you don't.
Let's spill the beans.
I don't know.
Pepsi.
I don't know.
Oh,
Oh,
Pep-
Pepsi. Pizza. Oh, I'll take pizza over Pepsi.
I know, but
Any day of the week.
Pepsi is like literally.
It
the
used to
worst
be.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. I used to drink that
a lot.
when I was a kid. I would drink like 5-6 cans of that a
Me
day.
too.
Like it's crazy.
I never knew the difference.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like,
Those
I
Pepsi,
mean-
it's delicious.
I mean, I think beverages are such a huge culprit.
Yeah,
Like people can drink tons of beverages.
because you
And,
can.
I mean, like,
drink all your
like I mean,
calories,
don't
yeah.
get me started on like soda pop. Like it's just riddled with sugar. Like
It is sugar.
It is sugar.
That's all it
But I
is.
mean, like, and it's also like, I mean, everybody that, you know, this is said all the time, but it's the fruit juices, apple juice,
Yeah.
you know, the McCain apple juice, the orange juice, all the juices,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And it's like,
Well, it's the same thing. Pop or juice. Yeah.
and then you got the stuff that's like zero sugar. That just means that they swap the sugar for the chemicals, right? For the chemical sweeteners, you know, sucralose and aspartame and all that stuff,
Yeah.
right? And like, you know, there's arguments all over the place. Like, and this
Yeah, I
is
see
what,
whether it's good for you or
and
bad
it,
for
you know,
you.
it's like this is the other thing. It's like if I knew what, you know,
like
it's
what
like
it does internally.
what it does, it's like everybody's like, you know, you can go on the internet and people will be advocating that sucralose is not as bad as they make it out to be. You know, you should be, you know, using stevia and xylitol and that stuff. And that's what I use because as far as I'm concerned, they come from a natural source. And in some of these products that I do have, that's a better choice for me.
Yeah.
I said, okay, this is from a natural source, but at the same time, it's like I don't know exactly what it's really doing for me. And that's kind of like,
Yeah.
you know, I know that it's a better choice. And I know that the best choice for me to make is just eating whole healthy foods. And that's the best I can do. Are the vegetables sprayed with pesticides? And you know, you want to go down that. There's levels to
Yeah,
this,
of course.
to this level of nutrition. And this is where I'm at. I'm done with the obsessing that my vegetables are not all organic or all my meat is not free ranged or you know, grass fed and stuff like that. Like I can't live in this obsessive world because I can't eat. First of all, the premium on that food cost wise,
2-3 times the price.
it's ridiculous. And I'm just saying, like, you know, I have to. There's levels that you have to like make sure that you keep your mental health in check too.
You got to find what works for you. And I think I love what you're saying here at the end of the day is like, yes, whole foods, everyone needs to get that. But then where you go from there is based on what your own personal level is like, right? You said like, oh, maybe you eat this foods. Maybe that doesn't really make you feel that good. So maybe try something else, right? Maybe some people have problems with certain types of greens, right? Then you're like, okay, you just kind of adjust based on what makes you feel good. And you know, you just kind of experiment because what's going to work for me is not necessarily going to be the best thing for you and then vice versa. But as long as we're on the right path of just like eating those whole natural foods, and then you just go from there.
Yeah, like within the realm, like I said, the most important thing is that you're eating whole foods.
Yeah.
Foods that are real, that are not, you know, like at the same time, I eat protein powder. It's processed. You know what I mean? But that's because I value protein more, like the value of getting that adequate amount of protein for my muscles
It's better than
is
the negative
worse
loss
than me. It's worse than me worrying about the quality of that product, because I still get quality protein powder where it's just a couple ingredients and it's flavored with natural flavoring, which is a controversial topic. The word sounds good, but it's still up in
Natural
the air
flavor
about
is
really
still-
what it is.
still some kind of
But it's
chemical thing, yeah.
a lesser evil of what it could have been.
Yeah.
So I make sure when I'm getting that product that I get the cleanest product, all just very basic, simple ingredients. And if I am getting another health supplement, I want to make sure my ingredients are, first of all, there's just a couple of them that I understand what they are, and that when the sweetener comes into that it's a sweetener that's coming from a natural source.
Yeah.
And it makes up a very small portion, and it's basically just because the supplementation is more advantageous to my health than it is, because protein is very important because our muscles are very important, and it's the fuel for our muscles. So I think, and getting an adequate amount of protein in the
Yeah.
day is very difficult. Like
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
hard for sure, especially when you're trying to figure out how to limit how much calories you're
Yeah,
having.
because most protein, high quality protein, comes in the form of dairy and animal
Yeah.
products.
Nobody
right?
wants to eat 20 chicken breasts in one day or whatever.
And I mean, you don't want to consume a whole lot of dairy either,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, I consume a healthy amount of dairy. That's how I get my protein. And but like I said, the supplementation really helps, because I think that getting an adequate amount of protein of healthy protein powder is way more advantageous than, okay, is this protein powder good or bad for me?
Yeah, I hear you.
There's levels to, you have to kind of say you have to ask yourself, where's the value at, right?
Yeah. I think in a future episode we're going to break down kind of where you're at in terms of what your nutrition is, and then I think a lot of people talk about the fat protein to carb kind of ratio and all that kind of stuff, for what makes the most sense. But before we get to that though, I want to ask you real quick here to wrap up, what are the biggest myths that we have now in our whole nutrition industry, or that people think, or that are just being not perpetrated, but that are being permeated throughout our society?
Yeah, well, so trendy diets, I think, like how they are obsolete, like how, carnivore, or so basically what are some of the popular ones? You got carnivore, you got vegan, you got paleo, all these things. And really all these, which is basically carnivore, just eating all meat.
Yeah.
Like all you're consuming is meat. And a vegan, you're eating all vegetable products. Keto is a popular one where you're basically eating a high fat diet, low carb, right?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And now all these different diets, what they're really doing is cutting out processed foods. You know what I mean? Like, everybody feels good on them. Like, oh, I tried this carnivore diet. I feel so good. Okay,
Right.
what was your diet like before? It was, I was eating, they rhyme it off, and it was heavy in processed foods.
Yeah. It's like,
You know what I mean?
you're
So,
eating.
okay,
doesn't ma-
you're eating real food versus processed food, but they want to be in the tribe that it was because it's all the meat, all the nutrition that's coming from the meat that's making them feel good. And I just think that's a myth.
Yeah.
I think it's the absence of the bad, and now they're eating all whole
Right.
food.
So it's more the fact that, like, the myth then is that it's not the diet per se that's the reason why you're feeling so much better. It's the fact that you've eliminated all the junk from it.
I think
right?
that has the biggest reason for
Yeah.
it now, and because the thing about it is like you have, and it becomes a very consumable product. You know what I mean? Because when you start isolating this all meat, that's when the charlatans come out, and then they start
It's
creating
the business aspect of everything, man. It gets there.
They start creating, these like organ products where they they start putting things in capsules, and they start putting things in pills, and they start selling it to you, right? And they get this good looking guy who's in shape to be the spokesperson for the carnivore diet, and then he's pushing all his products on there. Now you can look like me if you eat like a carnivore, right?
The Liver
do we
King?
need to bring up the Liver King?
The Liver King.
So, you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be, right? And that's where the whole myth world gets into, is like, if you just follow this trendy diet, you will look like me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
It's selling hope, is what that is.
but these
right?
people end up coming back. Like there's this the one guy, Carnivore MD, I think he goes by.
Never heard
And
Is
of
he-
him.
that Paul Saladino?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, he's very controversial. He, you know what I mean? And he's dialed, I've followed him for a while.
Okay.
Guys, he's a doctor. He's he's an older person that looks very young. He's in very good shape. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And he's very controversial the way he talks. But he's even come back and be like, I have to start adding fruit. And he changed the whole realm.
I see. Yeah.
Because the
Like
diet
he pushed just all
because
meat then,
that
I guess,
diet was hurting his body. It was
Yeah.
hurting his immune system, and he had to make changes.
Yeah.
Now he says now the carnivore diet includes fruits.
Yeah, so it's not a
So it's,
carnivore diet at
so
all.
it's like, because you know what I mean. But he made it seem like that this is the new way. This is what carnivore was always meant to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're just like, okay, so the way you were teaching us before, that's what frustrates me.
Yeah.
Is that, you know what I mean? They all pivot when, you know, because like eating a bunch of meat to me doesn't seem right.
Like
You're
if it was just eating steak.
yeah, you're just eating one element of food the whole time.
And that's
There's
it,
the
yeah.
whole realm of food needs to be digested. I think that every part now, when you want to like categorize fats, carbohydrates, and protein, I think you have to figure out what's right for your body. For me personally, a high carbohydrate diet does not sit well with
Yeah.
me. I think I need enough carbohydrates to fuel my body for the day, and that's it. I need adequate amount of protein to keep my muscle reservoir intact.
Right.
That's important. And I need
Yeah.
a healthy amount of fat to be able to, you know, to do the good things that it does to help fight off disease, to give me that good endurance. But with fat, you have to be careful because fat is twice the amount of calories, right? So there's twice the amount of a calorie. It's 8 kilocalories in 1 gram of fat, as opposed to 4 kilocalories
1 gram of
and
protein.
gram of protein and a carbohydrate.
Right.
So you have to be careful. Like peanuts.
That's why nuts,
So
they're good for you,
They're
but oh,
great,
man.
but you have to be careful how much. Like a tablespoon of peanut butter,
Yeah.
like that's 100 calories.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I see people just, you know, putting 600 calories of peanut butter on their food,
Yeah.
right? So you have to be careful.
I used
Because,
to love, or I still make like trail mix, which is nuts and seeds.
yeah.
Raisins sometimes. And
Yeah.
I don't know the raisins not the best for you because that's really high. But I have that, and I'll have like a good small like little bowl or whatever. And I type it in, it's like, Jesus, that's like 1,000 calories. So it's like, okay, I guess I can't eat much for the rest of the day because it
I-
adds up so fast.
I had a
even
big
though it's
awakening
healthy, but
like
yeah.
a few years ago because I was like, geez, because I was trying to lean out a little bit, and
Yeah.
I just wasn't getting there.
like,
I was
what's
like, geez,
going
I'm just
on?
eating clean. I don't feel like I'm eating a lot of food. And then
Type it in,
I
yeah.
weigh my food. And it's not because I'm obsessive, because I just want to know how much is
Yeah.
there. I just don't want to overeat. It's not obsessive. I just want to know, because it's like, I'm surprised sometimes about what 200 grams of chicken looks like, or what like 100
Yeah.
calories worth of peanut butter looks like.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
not like, I just want to know, because like I
Because
just
once you have a good idea, then you don't have to measure it
yes,
all the
I'm
time,
very
right?
good at.
So it's-
After a while, you can eye it out. I
For
know
sure,
I
yeah.
can. I'm very good at calculating amount of calories on a plate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, it's not obsessive.
Yeah.
It's just because I just like I have no idea how much this is.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I think that's a good lesson for a lot of people too. Is just to figure out kind of these proportion sizes and how much.
I think
calories are in there,
portions,
so you
you
can
know,
kinda
like
stay in
quality.
there.
You know, first of all, it's, you know, the quality of your food,
Yeah.
and then the portion sizes, and then separating your macros, which is your proteins, your carbs, and your fat, to make sure that they're balanced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you got to figure out the right balance for you. Now, I'm sure there is great benefits for people that are they're trying to like fight off a specific disease.
Mm.
And I know you guys expressed how you use keto in your family.
Yeah,
And there is a lot, and I think that there is a lot of validity in that. And I think that it makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense. And I think that
I agree too. It is a lot of elimination too, in a sense. It's like,
it's a
yeah,
lot of
maybe it's not even
elimination,
so
yeah.
much the fact that it's this, but it's because of it eliminates a bunch of
Yeah.
stuff. But I think there is some stuff
For
too
keto?
because for Tristan as well, because we're talking
Oh,
about
no,
the
no,
brain
it-
stuff, and then
so
it's
a
really
whole different
important to
things because it's using the ketones for
Right.
metabolism, and
Yeah,
it
yeah.
makes the neurons less excitable. There's
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, but I guess what you're trying to say though, it's eliminating the carbohydrates to be able to get to the ketones, right?
yeah.
You have to. There's an elimination process in there.
Yeah.
But I think like the biggest myth is that, you know, that these trends are the way.
That's the way.
to get to
Yeah.
there. But it's really just what you're eliminating.
100%.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? I think that is a huge thing.
Yeah.
And also, you know, when I was taught nutrition, you know, 16, 17 years ago, it was eat 6 small meals a day.
When you
was-
say you were taught,
so
it's
I,
just
you know,
like-
when I was in school,
okay,
you know,
like
when
in
I was-
like an actual like high school or whatever. Or
no,
like
when
what?
I went to get certified, and
Oh,
I
okay.
I went to
Yeah.
college for health,
Right.
wellness,
Yeah,
and
yeah, okay,
recreation.
okay.
Yeah. So when we were being taught in school, it was what they were preaching to us was eating six small
Right.
meals a
It's
day.
all about how.
You know what I mean? And
I
that's
remember that.
how I used to eat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's a lot
Yeah.
of meals. Like I was eating small meals and I got really lean doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I still, you know, because the whole methodology is that you want to keep your you don't want to put out the fire. You want to keep
you
the
wanna keep
fire.
things burning,
You want to
yeah.
keep things burning all day. And I still think that
Yeah.
that holds a lot of validity.
Yeah, but then there's the insulin spikes too, and you got to control your insulin.
Mm.
Oh my God, we're already starting to get into.
This is the world. This is the
Yeah,
world we live in.
crazy.
It's a science. It's nutrition is an untapped world that we're only scraping the surface of,
Yeah.
and you need to be your own guinea pig.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
you
instead
have
of
to be
listening,
your own advocate.
you have to be your own advocate. Listen to your body. Eat real food, and you know what I mean. And listen to what your body's
Yeah.
telling you. And
That's like 90% of the way there.
it's 90% of the way there. And
10% is all that other noise.
You know
If
what I
you
mean?
want to go for it, go for it. But
And there's this other fad, OMAD,
Yeah.
one meal a day.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like I just don't understand that one either. Like I know a lot of, but I never tried it, so I can't knock
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean?
I've tried it before.
Yeah, and I feel like I just couldn't live like that
Mm.
because I feel like I need my protein.
Yeah.
I feel like that is the most important thing, that I need an adequate amount of protein for my muscles. Because I had deficient amount of protein before, and I could feel it.
Yeah.
I know what being deficient in protein feels like. So for me to get the right amount of protein, I don't want to get that all in
You
one
can't do it in
meal.
a 1 hour window.
You know, and
or
I
whatever.
need, and you do need a significant amount of calories to get through your day. So, you know what I mean? You know, for me, it's like around 2,000, between 2,000 and 25, depending on my activity level,
Yeah.
right? And I don't want to eat 2,000 calories in one sitting, nor do I want to eat 1,000 calories and try to get all the benefits from it. So
Yeah.
that's a tough one to
Yeah.
to
You
rely
can
on.
always supplement it with like what is it? The latte from Crumble. With the
Yeah,
calories. There you
yeah.
go.
Well, it's still calories.
Oh yeah. All right, Luke, man, thank you so much. I think next week or next time we get together, I think we can go even further into this, and I would love to touch on the what is it, like the what's the word for business, but the corporate side of things,
Yeah.
and how the corporate is pointing us in the wrong directions. But it's also like I'm a really big proponent of capitalism, doing your own business and all that kind of stuff too, because I think it's really important. But I think there's good ways of doing business and bad ways. But we'll dive into that too, because
we can talk about how food has become like how food and nutrition is. Well, I think it's one of the biggest consumerism products out there.
Yeah.
So we
It's
can
a huge industry.
just
Yeah.
things to watch out for and things to be
Yeah.
aware of. I think it's important.
100%.
We touch base on
Yeah,
that.
sounds good. All right, thank you guys so much for tuning in and for watching us. Appreciate it, and yeah, we'll see you on the next episode.
All right. See you later.
All right, man.
All right, buddy.